Hi, this is Dr. Sid Weinberg. I'm one of the edTPA clinical mentors and a faculty member of the College of Education at Grand Canyon University.
Hi everyone, I am Dr. Lisette Pickens, and I am the other edTPA clinical practice mentor, and I'm also a faculty member in the School of Education right here at Grand Canyon University.
Today we are going to be talking about learning goals and measurable objectives. Both the Pearson edTPA and the GCU Teacher Work Sample require learning goals and measurable objectives. These goals and objectives must be aligned to state standards and are the foundation for planning a learning unit scope and sequence, as well as lesson plans themselves. The purpose of this mini webinar is to define learning goals and measurable objectives, discuss the differences between the two, and show how goals and objectives align for planning. There will also be a quiz at the end of this webinar.
I am going to review the definition of learning goals and also provide you with a few examples of learning goals so that you'll know what those are as we move throughout the webinar. Learning goals are general descriptions of what students will know after teaching a unit. Some examples of learning goals are: students will understand the factors leading to World War I. Students will know the setting, language, and themes of Jane Austen's novels. Students will understand the process of photosynthesis. So learning goals are very general descriptions of what students will know after a unit is completed, after instruction is completed.
Measurable objectives. Measurable objectives are specific tasks students will be able to perform after the unit has been taught. These are often phrased as students will be able to. Students will be able, for example, to write a 500-word essay on how nationalism was a factor leading to World War I. Notice here that students will have to do a specific task, and that task, a 500-word essay, is measurable. It will be assessed to see how much learning has taken place. In English or language arts, students will be able to give a PowerPoint presentation on setting in the works of Jane Austen. So in this case, it is specific. It asks for information about setting in the works of Jane Austen, and it gives you a method by which the student will be assessed, a PowerPoint presentation, which is often assessed on a rubric. Finally, students will be able to build a model of the process of photosynthesis. Now, while this is not as specific as the other two measurable objectives, it is still a measurable objective because it gives you a way in which the student can be assessed for the knowledge that he or she now possesses. So the fact that they will specifically have to build a model, whatever kind of model that is, means that this is a measurable objective.
And as you can see now that there are very specific differences when we talk about learning goals versus measurable objectives. In the previous examples, the learning goals that I shared with you were very basic in general versus the measurable objectives that were very specific. So I'm going to provide you with some more details on how these differences are spelled out. So let's see. The learning goal describes in general terms what students will know. And this is often based on state standards. These goals give the overall purpose of the unit and how they align with state standards. So it's very general terms. Versus measurable objectives. Measurable objectives describe specifically what a student will be able to do. Based on learning goals, these objectives describe specific, measurable ways to demonstrate that the learning goals have been met. So as you can see with our learning goals, we're just describing overall what students will know. Versus measurable objectives, we're specifically describing what students will be able to do. So they're two completely different things, and sometimes we combine them and we mistake them for the same thing. But as you can see here, they're two completely different concepts. So it's important to know the difference.
Alignment is very important. And it is the foundation of your learning unit that you will do either for edTPA or for the GCU teacher work sample. It is important that all of your unit, all of the aspects of your learning unit align with each other. So the state standard will be the foundation for your learning goal, and your learning goal will relate to your measurable objectives. Your measurable objectives will measure how well students understand or have mastered the learning goal. I have had instances where a learning goal may be about one topic and a measurable objective about something completely different. That is not acceptable. Your entire teacher work sample and your edTPA must be based on a single unit of learning, beginning with the state standards, going through the learning goal, and then to measure how the student has learned from your instruction through the measurable objectives.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a short assessment to see how well we now understand the differences between learning goals and measurable objectives. So let's take a look at the first one. Students will be able to determine meaning of unknown words and phrases by the end of the unit with 80% accuracy using textual clues, dictionaries, and discussions as assessed by special education teacher observations and student work samples. So let's think for a minute. Is this a learning goal or is it a measurable objective? Look at the statement very closely. And here is the answer. If you guess a measurable objective, then you are correct. It is a measurable objective because it is specific and it provides a method in which student progress will be assessed. What jumps out immediately is the 80% accuracy. That's a very specific and definite measurement. So we want to look for those cues as we are reading the statements. So let's look at the next one, Sid.
Use academic and domain-specific vocabulary in conversation and writing to increase comprehension and expression. Which do you think it is? Is this a learning goal, or is this a measurable objective? This is a learning goal. It is general and does not provide a specific method to determine how students will demonstrate their mastery. It says something about they will use academic and domain-specific vocabulary in conversation and writing, but it does not tell us what kind of assignment that's going to be, what specific vocabulary words are going to be tested, and how that is going to be measured. Therefore, although it mentions the word specific, and it does say in conversation and writing, it is still a learning goal.
Okay, and let's look at the third one here. Students articulate their own ideas clearly and persuasively while respecting and adding on to the ideas of others. Is this a learning goal or a measurable objective? Let's take a look. And the correct answer is, it is a learning goal. It is very general and does not provide a specific method to determine how students will demonstrate their mastery. So if you selected learning goal for that one, then you are correct. Very good. And our final one, Sid?
Students will learn to write words on paper with common sounds and trick words. Although this does sound like a learning goal, because it is specific, students will learn to write words on paper with common sounds and trick words. It is a measurable objective. Now understand that it could be a better measurable objective with more specific information. However, it does provide a method in which student progress will be assessed. All of these examples, by the way, came from work that has been done by other GCU students.
And we would like to thank you so much for viewing our webinar today. Should you have any questions about any of the content presented here, here is our contact information. You have, again, Dr. Lisette Pickens, and my contact information is at the bottom, and you have Dr. Sid Weinberg, and his contact information is on the screen as well. We would be happy to assist you in any way that we can.
Thanks again for watching our webinar. If you have any questions or even want to tell us how well you did on our little quiz, do not hesitate to be in touch.